Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalam ala khatimin nabiyyin nabiyyina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. Rabbi zidni ilma. Rabbi zidni ilma. Okay, so last time we did, a few slides. So inshallah, what we'll do, we'll continue and we'll use those slides for recap, inshallah. Okay, first thing first, the name of the surah. The surah is so designated after the word Al Burooj. Al Burooj appearing in the first ayah. Al Burooj means the constellations, the forts of the stars, stellar formations, the towers, display of beauty, sails on boats, etc. etc. There are many meanings. So what we'll do, inshallah, when we go to ayat number 1, we'll look at some of these meanings, inshallah. Place and period of revelation. This surah was revealed at the time when the disbelievers of the Quraysh began persecuting their own people who were embracing Islam. So last time I think we started this discussion that the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is divided into broadly two halves: life in Makkah al-Mukarramah and life in Medina al-Munawwara. In Medina, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he spent 10 years, the last 10 years of his life. In Makkah al-Mukarramah, after he was born and brought up there as a prophet of Allah, so he spent 13 years. So those 13 years can be another divided into three phases. In phase 1, mostly the Quraysh, the first 3 or 5 years, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had only a handful of Sahaba. So these Quraysh, the Mushrikan of Makkah, they were just making fun of Rasulullah, fun of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Quran Majid, and the Sahaba. The next 5 years, because more and more people were, entering into the folds of Islam, so they were agitated. So with this agitation, they were very angry and they wanted to punish all their people so that they can come back, and follow the old religion. The last 3 years were the most difficult, and this is the time this surah was revealed. In the last 3 years, these Mushrikan of Makkah, particularly the leaders of the Quraysh, so they wanted to physically torture, mentally torture these people, and sometimes they're planning to kill the Sahaba, and also they're planning to kill Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also. So the subject matter itself indicates that this surah was sent down to Makkah in the period when persecution of the Muslim was at its peak, and the disbelievers of Makkah were trying their utmost by tyranny and oppression to make the new converts turn back to Islam. So what these people were thinking, they're believing that this religion was started by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Nauzubillah, they said that if you kill Rasulullah, and everything is finished, the whole Islam is finished, and now we can live peacefully as we used to live before. So, the theme and subject matter. The theme of the surah is to warn the disbelievers of the evil consequences of the persecution and tyranny that they were perpetrating on the converts to Islam, and to console the believers. So this has got always, please remember, the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the message of Quran Majid, it has got, two sides. Yeah. On one hand, this message is for believers to console, to give some information, to give instruction. And on the other hand, it is for inzar, to warn the disbelievers. All the, ayats, all the surahs in the Quran Majid, so they have got twofold, message. Yeah, one for believers, one for disbelievers. For believers, it's a reminder. For disbelievers, it's a warning. So here also, this surah is consoling the believers that you are not the first people, who are being tortured, who are being punished. You are not the first one. If you think you are the first one, think about those people, those who came before you, and they were also Unitarian. They used to believe in God, and what happened to them? So they were put in the fire. Yeah, you are not put in the fire. They were literally they were put into the pits of fire, and they were killed. So therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is consoling the believers that don't worry, I'm on your side. And on the other hand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is warning the disbelievers that before you came, there was a group of people who were tyrants and they were persecuting people who are worshipping God or worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how we punish them. So what we'll do, we'll discuss about the story of the Ashabul Ukhdud when we come to ayat number 4, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the believers that if you remain firm and steadfast against tyranny and coercion, you will be rewarded richly for it, and Allah will certainly avenge himself on your persecutors on your behalf. So you don't need to worry. Today they are very powerful. You are weak, but I am on your side. So in this connection, first of all, the story of the people of the ditches, that is the Ashabul Ukhdud, has been related, who had burned the believers to death by casting them into pits full of fire. So we will discuss this story, inshallah, when we come to ayat number 4, inshallah. So these believers were said to be a Unitarian Christian community who lived in the south of Arabia before the advent of Islam. They are mostly in Yemen area. They are in the border of the present day Saudi Arabia and Yemen. So this is the area where they used to live. They were faced by ruthless and tyrannical enemies who sought to force them away from their faith, but the believers refused. It's a beautiful story. It's very moving. It's a very touching story. Inshallah, we'll go through that. The tyrants then lit a great fire in a pit they had dug and threw them into it. The believers were thus burned to death in front of large crowds that had gathered to witness this ghastly act of extermination. The tyrant sat by and amused by the believers' sufferings. So some they say 20,000 believers were burned, some they say 25, different accounts are there. By means of this story, the believers and the disbelievers have been taught a few lessons. So who is listening? Both are listening. Believers, the Sahaba, and the disbelievers. They are also listening. And most of them, they knew this story. Yeah, because, from generation to generation, this happened around 523, Christian era. Yeah. So after that, it was around 50 years or something. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born in 570. So this happened around 525, something like that. So therefore, uh, people have heard from their fathers, forefathers, what happened, how things happen, and how did Abraha came. So this is the entrance of advent of Abraha. Abraha came to Yemen. Yeah, so he was sent to Yemen to punish these people because Abraha, he was a Christian. So I'll tell you the whole story, and I think the second part of the story we have already dealt in Surah Al Fil. When we did Surah Al Fil, I have told you the whole story of Abraha, how he came, what happened to him, how he became the king of Yemen, and then how he started, attacking Kaaba. So this is the second part of the story. So this is the first part of the story, that what made, Abraha to, come to Yemen, yeah, from Ethiopia. So inshallah, we'll see the story. There are many lessons to be learned from this surah. The first lesson is that just as the people of the ditch became worthy of Allah's curse and punishment, so are the chiefs of Makkah also becoming worthy of punishment. So Allah SWT is saying, so how Allah punished them? If you don't stop, you will get the same punishment. Because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's punishment comes, it is very severe. Yeah. So the second lesson is that just as the believers at that time had willingly accepted to sacrifice their life by being burned to death in the pits of fire instead of turning away from the faith or their deen, so also the believers now should endure every persecution, but should never give up their faith. So many a times in the Quran Majid also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given, these warnings to the believers that if you turn back, if you go back to your old faith, then nothing is going to happen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who are the loser? You are the loser. If you turn back, if you don't follow Islam, it's up to you. That on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will catch them and punish them. Third lesson is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is acknowledging that He subhanahu wa ta'ala is dominant and master of the kingdom of the earth and heavens. He is self-praiseworthy and is watching what the two groups are striving for. Allah is clearly saying He is self-praiseworthy. Whether you and me praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or not, it doesn't matter to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because He is self-praiseworthy, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore, if we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is for our own benefit. We are going to be blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are going to be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why we are praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the whole world does not praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, still He is praiseworthy. He is self-praiseworthy, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is certain that the disbelievers will not only be punished in hell for their disbelief, but more than that, they will also suffer punishment by fire as a fit recompense for their tyranny and cruelties. We'll see that, inshallah. So how these people, the Ashabul Ukhdud, so they were punished towards the end. Abraha and his army came, and how, more or less, they punished in the same way. So what they did to the believers. Likewise, it is also certain that those who believe and follow up their belief with good deeds shall go to paradise, and this indeed is a supreme success. Fawzul Azim. This is a great success. It's not an ordinary success, it's a great success. What we get from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the dunya, in a halal way, if we get, children, everything, that's also good. That's also success in the dunya. But getting Jannah is a supreme success. Then the disbelievers have been warned that Allah's grip is very severe. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, Inna batasha rabbika lashadid. So when we come to the ayah, I'll explain in detail what exactly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling here. Yeah. So if you are proud of your strength, then you should know that the Ad, the Samud, and Fir'aun were even stronger and more in number. So therefore, you should learn a lesson from the fate they met. In other parts of the Quran Majid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about 5 nations. These are the big, great nations. Yeah. I have given an acronym as flatten. All of them were flattened by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. FLATN. Yeah. F is for Pharaoh and his people. Yeah. L is for the people of Lut alayhi salam. Yeah. A is for Ad. T is for Samud. Yeah. N is for people of Nuh alayhi salam. So these are the mighty nations. They are huge nations. When they rebelled against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, end of the day, they were all flattened. So please remember this, FLATN. Yes, so then you'll remember these 5 big enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messengers, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished them. Allah's power has no encompass that you cannot escape his encirclement. Once Allah has decided to punish, certain nation home, then nobody will escape except people who follow the prophet of the time. So this is really, really important. And the Quran that you are bent upon to discredit is unchangeable. It is inscribed in the preserved tablet, which cannot be corrupted in any way. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is clearly telling at the end of this surah that you want to change the Quran, go ahead. You can prove. Bring one surah, two surahs, 10 surahs. Allah has put many challenges that if you want to change, you try. Why you cannot copy, or why you cannot produce another Quran? Because this Quran Majid, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam through Jibreel alayhi salam, this was inscribed tablet. It's kept under the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From there, time to time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent as per the requirement to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala transported this Quran Majid to Rasulullah through Jibreel alayhi salam. So therefore there is absolutely no corruption. There is no intervention. Nobody has, had access to the Quran Majid. Then let's look at very briefly the relationship of this surah to the previous group of surahs. Now, the previous group of surahs, the cluster of the surahs of the Quran Majid, have had a mention of sky, sama, in the beginning. So we'll see that, inshallah, when we finish, the Surah Al Burooj, when we go to the next few surahs, Allah is talking about, Allah is swearing by the sky. Most of the time, the mention of sky was related to its destruction and permanent tearing apart on Judgment Day. Why we are talking about sky? To human, human mind, sky is the biggest thing. What is bigger than sky? Nothing. Comparing to the earth, sky is very big. Comparing to sun, sky is very big. Comparing to moon, the sky is big. So sky, to our understanding, is the biggest thing. Yeah, sky, to our understanding, is the biggest thing. And that will be destroyed on the day of judgment. Just before the day of judgment, the sky will also be destroyed. So it is said that the sky was made for this purpose, for the day when it will be torn. And this is a theme of inevitability of the day of judgment. So that means what we are imagining, the biggest thing visible, the biggest thing which is visible is going to be destroyed. And this is the purpose. When you build a building or a project or something, there will be a lifespan of that. You have to calculate, the designers will calculate the lifespan. So this building is going to last for 100 years. After that, there is no guarantee. It will be self-destructive. If you don't maintain, it will be destructive. So this project will last for 40 years, and after that, it's going to be dismantled. So something like that. So Allah has designed the sky until the day of judgment is established. So before that, it will be destroyed. And the sky is waiting for that. So as soon as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the command, the sky will have like a programming, self-destructive programming. The earth will do the same thing. So all the things which Allah has created, so they will follow these guidelines. But in this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing the skies consisting of forts and castles. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, okay, the sky will be destroyed on that specific time. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala order the sky to destroy, it will be destroyed. But for time being, for now, look at the skies consisting of forts and castles. And where are these forts and castles? Let's look at it, inshallah. So the surah is about what the Muslims are going through now and what has happened to them in the past. So Allah is giving a comparison. So what you're going through now, it is not a different thing. It has happened in the past also. It's not just the Ashabul Ukhdud. In other surahs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about how these believers were tortured by these, the people of the Firaun, the people of Lut alayhi salam, people of Nuh alayhi salam, Ad and Samud, how they were torturing their own people. So as I have told you before, when you look at the Quran Majid, you have to look at in a very comprehensive way. So there are some incidents mentioned in this surah, there are some other mentioned in other surahs. So we have to all put together, then we'll have a clear picture. Virtues of Surah Al Burooj. Jabir ibn Samara radiallahu anhu narrates that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to recite Surah Al Burooj and Surah Tariq in Dhuhr and Asr prayer. Yeah. So this is reported by Sunan Abu Dawud. So what it is telling us, two things. One, that we should also recite these surahs if we can, in these salah, that is Dhuhr and Asr salah. Second, that this should be the length of the Quran recitation in Dhuhr and Asr Salah should we choose to recite some other ayats. So approximately, so if you put these, two surahs together, how many ayats will come? Approximately, you can recite. And since these two, Asr and Dhuhr Salah, we are not reciting loudly, so therefore you can recite a bit quickly also. So preamble to ayat number 1 and 4, 1 to 4. Yeah. Oaths are sown by the sky consisting of forts and by the day of judgment. So two things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is swearing here, by the sky, yeah, consisting of forts, yeah, sky consisting of forts and the day of judgment. Sky consisting of forts, this is watching you. Every moment what we are doing, we are being watched by these stars. We are being watched. The enemies of Islam are being watched. Yeah, this is a warning. And the day of judgment is even bigger warning. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying it is even a bigger warning that a day will come. On that day, you have to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you have to give your account. The day of judgment is bound to come, and there is eternal doom for many people who will be thrown into the pits of hell. So what they did, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now going to do it on the day of judgment. Once the judgment is passed, those people who are horrible to other Muslims, yeah, just because they are believing in oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will put them into the pits of hellfire. So let's start the surah, inshallah. In the first ayah, Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In ayat number 1, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Was-samai zatil buruj, by the sky containing great stars. Now this is a rough translation. You can have many translation, according to the Mufassirin. So I have taken the simple one. Let's go to the word for word translation first, and then inshallah we'll go into the ayah itself. Wa is al-waw khasam. Now this wa, as I have told you before, it is playing two roles. Yeah, it is waw khasam and also it is harful jar. And this is a special harful jar. It is coming with a definite noun, that as-sama, yeah, the sky. So this al-waw khasam is making as-sama into as-samau into as-samai. Was-samai. That's what we say, was-samai. Yeah. So the sky, noun, feminine noun, and ism majroor. Zatil buruj. Zat is containing. It is possessing or containing. Yeah. So this is also a special noun out of the 5 special nouns. Yeah. This is for feminine noun, is majroor, and al buruj, great stars. It's not just great stars. There are other things also. We'll see inshallah. Was samai zatil buruj, by the sky containing great stars. I swear by the sky that possesses the buruj. Why are oaths used? I'm just recapping again and again because these oaths are very important in Quran Majid. What are the reasons? One, when Allah swears by something, it could be due to the importance of it. So Allah magnifies the sky in this surah. So, as I have told you before, sky is the biggest creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Among all the whole universe, sky is the biggest thing. And also there's not just one, there are seven. So even if you take the one which is near to us, it itself is huge. It's really, really huge. Yeah. So now Allah is magnifying the sky in this surah. That's why, and also everybody, we are all human beings. Where are we? Under the sky. So that means sky is watching you. Sky is one of the things Allah has created. The sky is always there, they're watching. Sky is watching thousands of years of history. Allah might take an oath when he is angry. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he gets angry, people are not believing. Allah is taking an oath. Allah swears by something and makes it a witness for what he subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to say. Allah has made, time as a witness. Wal asr, the asr is a fleeting time. This time is there from the time of Adam alayhi salam, before that, after that, and it will stay until the last day. So the time is also watching us. The stars are watching. The angels are watching. The many, many creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're watching you and me day and night. Inside the houses, outside the houses, everywhere, wherever we go. There's no hiding place. Allah is watching us all the time. So when people are not believing, you take an oath. This is a general belief. Yeah. So we also do that. If somebody is not believing, then immediately you swear and they say, Wallahi, why did you come? The bus was late, the train was late, and somebody makes a face, then say, Wallahi, I'm telling you the truth. So that means you are swearing. Yeah. Okay. So the surah opens with an oath by the heaven full of buruj, followed by two more oaths. Zat is possessor of something. This is mudaf and mudafun ilayhi. Yeah. Zat is something which is, possessor, and mudafun ilayhi always comes as, possessed. Buruj is the plural of burjun. Burjun or burj, a tower or a fort that is very high. This is the general usage. Yeah, the general usage. If you go to Dubai, you see that Burj Arab, Burj Dubai, all these things. There are many, many towers in the world. Yeah, so these towers, why it is important, we'll see that inshallah. Something that can be seen from a distance, or anything excellent and high quality that you have to look up to and see it, such as the large stars in the sky. If people who have gone to, Dubai, definitely they will take a tour of, Burj Al Arab, or, the Burj Dubai, and they'll go on top of the tower to see the, city. And they pay a lot of money for this, and it's amazing when you go on top. And if you see this, this is amazing. Now just imagine, that's one example of the dunya. If you see the stars in the sky, that's more amazing. There are some, people like astronomers, and these people, they, learn the ilm falkiyat, the astronomy, and they go to, hilltops when the sky is very clear. They put a telescope and they look into the stars, and they spend nights and nights and days, gazing at them. And they write the books, and the volumes and volumes of books written on different stars. So this is really amazing. Some stars visibly you can see from your naked eyes, and some you have to use a telescope or something like that. It also means the ancient people had a field of knowledge called ulumul nujum or ilmul nujum. Yeah, the knowledge of the stars. This is similar to horoscope today. Yeah, so they would believe that the sky is divided into 12 areas. Each section of the sky is a burj, yeah, a constellation. So yes, I have seen that many people, back in India also I have seen, and they go and look at the horoscope. Many people, even as a joke, so they go and these the Scorpio, Libra, Gemini, all these, and they look at the horoscope in the newspapers. Yeah, those days they used to look at the newspapers. Now, brothers and sisters, please remember, it's a shirk kabira. Looking into horoscope, even as a joke, is shirk kabira. You should not do that. Yeah, because many people they think, oh, what's the big deal? I don't believe in that, but I'm still saying what you are saying. If you don't believe, don't look at it. Yeah, because what happens when you believe or when you go to a fortune teller, when you go to such people, that according to the ulama, your 40 days of ibadah is gone. Yeah, is gone and you don't even know. Imagine in those 40 days, if you happen to die, what will happen to you? You die in the state of kufr. So therefore, be careful. Don't make your iman weak. Even if you got a small shed of doubt that this is going to weaken my iman, don't go near that. Don't believe it. Don't even listen to it. Because what happens, you know, if somebody said a very good example that if you want to break a rock or something, even if the hammer is very small, if you keep on hitting hundreds and thousands of times, one day the rock will break. Similarly, if you keep on listening to these, the shirk and biddat and all, even though you're not believing, following, but if you keep on listening, maybe Allah knows best that someday we may crack, we may lose our iman. So therefore, be careful. Don't go near it. Don't even listen to it. Just be careful and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect you from both bidats and shirk. It is shirk kabira or shirk sagira. Be careful. So the commentators have interpreted the Arabic word buruj in several ways. For example, Ibn Abbas, Mujahid, Ad-Dahaj, Al-Hasan, Khadada, and As-Sudi radiallahu anhum. They said Buruj means stars. So all of them, so they have said Buruj means stars. Ibn Jarir, Rahimallah, chose the view that it means the position of the sun and the moon, which are 12 Buruj. The sun travels through each one of these Buruj in 1 month. The moon travels through each of these Buruj in 2.5 days, which makes a total of 28 positions, and it is hidden for 2 nights. Allahu Alam. So this is their stand. Ibn Kasir, Rahimallah, he said, Buruj are the large stars in the sky. When you look into the sky, yeah, I'm not talking about using telescope, even with our naked eyes. Some stars, they are very small. Some, they look very bright and very large. What's the difference? Nujum, twinkling, shining stars. Buruj, they're stationary and they're very big, huge. Nujum, they're twinkling, shining stars, very small, twinkling stars. Yeah. And there's another one called Kawakib. Kawakib is the plural of Kaukab. Kaukabul, Kawakibul. Yeah. So firmly placed stars and planets mentioned in the previous surahs. Allah has mentioned about these, Kawakib or Kaukabun. Buruj also means forts and castles. From a distance, you can see the fort. Yeah, and castles, you can see from a long miles away, you can see that, big fort or big castle. Are you impressed? Yes, you are impressed. When we see these forts and we visit them, when we go to a new place, we will try to find out, is there a fort? Is there a castle? Oh, we have to go on top of this castle and we want to see this. And it's there from long time, so we are very impressed. Yeah. We are being told the sky is full of forts, and the forts are full of soldiers, and the soldiers are Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's angels. Subhanallah, this is so important. This should, improve our iman. This should boost our iman. that when we hear these things, that angels are watching. These angels, they are sitting in the forts with their whatever arsenal Allah has given them. They are waiting and watching. When Allah orders, they come to the ground and they destroy the enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or Islam. Why I'm saying this? This has been mentioned in Surah Al Imran. We'll come to that inshallah. It also means display of beauty. Now, this is used for women also. When women, when they display their beauty, the inner beauty, or the external beauty which Allah has given them, when they put on display, for people, those who are not supposed to see their beauty, so for such beauty also, the display of beauty, how they display, their face, their head, their neck, all parts of the body is also very important. And this is also called Burj. Yeah. Sails on boats, boats. So they'll have, very, big masts, the huge, pillars like thing. And they put the, to control the wind direction. So they put the sails. So these sails, and they are also visible from a long distance and they look beautiful. They improve the beauty of the boat. So it looks very beautiful and you can see from a distance. So now when you compile all these examples, so what do we get? So these are amazing, these are very beautiful, and you can see from a distance and you enjoy, you get the pleasure of watching these. So these are called buruj. So there will come a day when these angels will be called for duty from the forts. So they will then descend from these forts in rows upon rows. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al Fajr, ayat number 22, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that, and your Lord has come and the angels rank upon rank. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends, this is on the day of judgment, then all the angels, so they will follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they will stand row after row. And they're all coming from these stars. Allah talks about the warrior angels helping the Muslims in Surah Al Imran, as I told you before, in ayat number 125. Allah is telling the believers, yes, if you remain patient and conscious of Allah and the enemies come upon you attacking in rage, your Lord will reinforce you with 5,000 angels having marks of distinction. And that's what happened. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the angels. Yeah. In Badr also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the angels to aid Muslims, because there are only 313 according to many historians. That's the number of Muslims were there. They went to fight in Badr, and there are more than 5,000 kuffar or mushrikana Makkah. So they were attacking Muslims. So Allah sent 5,000 angels, and they are distinctly marked. Their horses were branded. So therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can send. This is like a emergency place where Allah has kept these angels. So immediately they will come and they will attack the enemy of Islam. And believe it or not, even today until the last day, if our iman is so strong, if we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we believe in these angels, and if we are in trouble, Allah will definitely send them. How they will come, how they will, we don't know. We don't know. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the same surah, Allah says that when you are thinking that you are hitting, their bodies, but it's not you, it is the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they were hitting their bodies. The polytheists would say that the jinn would spy in the sky and tell them knowledge of the future through hearing the knowledge of the unseen being discussed by the angels. Now, this is what even today there are many disbelievers. Yeah, there are many, mushriks. So they believe that they have got a jinn, and this jinn is amazing jinn, and the jinn can go to the skies and hear what is being discussed, between the angels, and they'll bring back the news. It's all fake. It's all pack of lies. But the jinn who did try to listen, they would be shot at by the guards of angels in the skies. That is Shihab Sahib, that is firing piercing stars, shot at them to burn them. Yeah, Surah Al Hijr, ayat number 16, 17, and 18. Allah is very clearly telling. So they tried. This is particularly happened when the Quran was being revealed, part by part during the time of 23 years. So these people, these jinns, they wanted to go and find out what is coming next so that they can go and tell their people that what is coming next, but didn't happen. They were very, very highly, guarded by the angels. So whenever they try, because there are three different types of jinns. One group is flying jinns. Yeah. One, they can come in any form, and one, they're stationary. They don't change, their whatever shape or form. They don't change. So these flying jinns group, so they will go and find out what is happening in different parts of the world, what is happening here. They're always flying. And some of these fortune tellers and all, they please them with all the horrible things. Only when they do that, so they'll become friendly with these jinn and they collect some information. Okay. So the disbelieving jinn did not know the future, as there were angels guards in forts and castles to shoot at those who tried to spy. So they could not even go there. They could not even go near that because these, guards, they are guarding the whole of sky 24/7. So they can't go anywhere near that. It is not possible for anyone from the jinns or the men to enter the limits of the highest assembly, Al-Malaul Ala, or eavesdrop in divine matters. So nobody can do that. Neither human beings nor jinns, nobody can. This is well guarded. So the Burooj are forts and castles in the sky in which there are strong armies of angels, stationed by the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So why is Buruj mentioned in this surah? The essence of the meaning of Burj is to demonstrate, according to Aminuddin Islahi Saab. So he says that in the previous surahs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned the destruction of the sky repeatedly, but it is not destroyed now and looks beautiful. So when someone goes deep into the nature and look at the sky, he sees that the sky today packed with stars. But a Muslim will always remember that a day is coming when this sky will tear fully and permanently, and the sky, will be pleased to do so. Because the sky has been designed like that, the sky knows when to, it's like a self-program. Yeah, many of these stars, sun, everything, they're self-programmed. So after that period, so they will destroy themselves. It's gone. So these brilliant stars are like a reminder. So whenever we see the big stars and when we see them twinkling, we remember the day when the sky will be clear. It's not just beauty. Yes, we appreciate the beauty. Why? This has been created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah has created everything beautiful. Nothing is ugly. Allah has created, everything beautiful. Particularly among those in the sky, everything is really, really beautiful. It's like beyond our imagination. They are so beautiful. But when we see at them, then you have to remember the day of judgment. When you remember the day of judgment, the sky will go, the sun will go, the moon will go, everything. Then what comes to our mind? Oh, I have to be careful. This can happen anytime. So therefore, I have to change my attitude. Therefore, I have to change my belief. Therefore, I have to be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the true believer who is going to do this. The oaths shown here are meant to bear evidence to a premise which is mentioned further ahead. The addressees of this surah are the arrogant leaders of the Quraysh of Makkah and Taif. So these people, they're hell-bent, they wanted to destroy Islam. They wanted to kill Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They wanted to bring back, the Sahaba into their, original religion. So these leaders, being polluted with the lust of power, were persecuting weak Muslims and arrogantly regarded their own forts and castles to be unconquerable. That's what they were thinking. It's just not these. Even in the past, the Samud, the Firaun and his people, they used to believe that our castles are so strong. Even if you go back to Egypt and have look at some of these, their pharaohs, their palaces, and some of their pyramids, they're really really strong. And they used to say that nobody can penetrate, nobody can come inside. So they never even thought that the all-powerful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, upon whose frail servants they have let loose these waves of tyranny, is not weak and helpless. Allah is reminding you and me. See, Allah initially was telling to his Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his followers that 1400 years ago. How do we apply this ayah today? Even today, the application is same, that you and me should not worry too much. What is happening in the dunya, where the Muslims are being tortured, what is happening to them? Yes, it is happening. This tyranny will happen until the last day, and it can happen to you and me also. But what should be our main motto? Our main motto should be to keep our Islam, keep our Iman intact as much as we can. 100% no, maybe not possible, but as much as we can with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we can keep our Iman intact. So therefore, first of all, we need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help to keep our Iman intact and keep doing what has been asked to you and me by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We keep doing that. In fact, he is the creator. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator and the master of the sky, consisting of fortresses. So he's the designer. He's the creator. He's the designer. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, he is creating these fortresses, these stars, for a specific purpose, which Allah knows best. He is not unconcerned about the affairs of the world. In fact, his angels are continuously guarding every nook and corner of this world from the fortresses in which they are stationed. So they're not just simply sitting there. So they are watching. They're so powerful. They are watching what we are doing. The whole sky is watching us. The time is watching us. The angels are watching us. So whenever he desires, he can destroy all the castles, pavilions, and buildings of these people and bring down their pride and conceit to ashes. Can we see the signs today? Yes. If you go to Egypt, you can see that. The destruction of, the palaces of, pharaohs. Yeah, you can see that. But some of them, they're gone, but some marks are still there. Allah has left those marks so that we can see that and take admonition, take lesson from that, take ibra, from that what happened to these mighty people, the Ad and Samud, they are the very, really physically very mighty people. What happened to them? The people of Nuh alayhi salam, the people of Lut alayhi salam, what happened to them? Then in ayat number 2, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Wal yawmil maw'ud, and by the promised day, that is the day of resurrection. Let's first look at the word for word translation, then inshallah we'll go into the ayah itself. Wa is Waul Khasam. So another, Khasam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking. Wa is Waul Khasam, particle of oath, and Al Yawmi, the day. Yeah, Al Yawm, the day is Majrur, and Al Mawud, the promised one. Yeah, Allah is promising from long time about this day. This is an adjective coming as is Majrur. Okay, Al-Yawmil Maw'ud, and by the promised day, that is the day of resurrection. And I swear by the day which is promised, the day which Allah has continuously promised throughout the Quran Majid repeatedly. This is not the first place or this is not the last place. Allah has promised the day of judgment is coming. The day of accountability is coming. in many hundreds of, literally hundreds of ayats. So they have mentioned directly or indirectly about coming of the day of judgment, the establishment of the day of judgment. Allah has shown by the sky and its forts, that is Surah Al Burooj, and the promised day of resurrection. So Allah has promised about the sky and its forts and the promised day. These are the three oaths Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken in the beginning of this surah. So the day of judgment is shown by here, just as it is in Surah Qiyamah also. Yeah, Surah Qiyamah also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has started with swearing on the day of judgment. Wal yawm, and I swear by the day. The al makes it singular because the judgment day is singular one. Even though in many ahadith we have seen this day can be 50,000 years long, 80,000 years long, whatever the period is. But this is one day. This epoch or the period, yeah, this is in our understanding. It can be long, so many years, so many days long, but it is one day. Yeah, this is one day. This is like a middle phase. We'll have a phase in the dunya and akhirah, and then hereafter. That's in either, people will go to Jannah or people will go to Jahannam. That's the last phase. So this is the middle phase. Yeah. This is the day of judgment. And this day is very important. This is going to decide where the people are going, individually and collectively, where they are going. Or they, depends upon what Allah has rewarded them or Allah has punished them. Swearing by the day of judgment, which is meant to frighten people of it, alludes to the fact that no sane person can deny it. Now, Allah, from time to time and time again, Allah is mentioning in the Quran Majid through Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, so people can change their attitude. Because the day of judgment is the key. It is the key to changing our attitude, even among believers. If you really believe in the day of judgment, your attitude, your behavior, your amal will definitely change. If you have a very shaky type of iman, yes, I believe, but I don't care, I'll do whatever, I'm doing now. And because Allah Ta'ala is Ghafur Rahim, Nazbillah, and He is going to forgive everything. People are living in this kind of, delirium or the state of mind. And this is a fallacy. This is wrong. Thus, it is said in Surah Qiyamah, ayat number 14 and 15, in fact, he himself is witness upon his own self, however much he may put up excuses. So that its testimony is present in man's soul itself, no external evidence is required for it. When a human being is making sin or making something wrong, if he's doing for the first time, he is very guilty. He has got conscience. Allah has given this conscience in every human being. When they are doing something wrong, first time they know that, yeah, what I'm doing is wrong. I should not do it. But what happens, the shaitan is always attached to us and the nafs is there, the nafs ammara, and said that, no, just go and do it. Just do it once. So you do it. And then you say, oh, nothing happened to me. I was telling lies and no scissor came and cut my tongue. It's okay then. So second time, third time. And then this person will become, they'll become used to this and they started committing sin after sin after sin. The crimes is not in detail, just example. Throughout Juz Amma, the last, para, the 30th, juz of Quran Majid, we see that disbelievers are making fun of the day of resurrection. Always they are making fun of day of resurrection. Sometimes they had a special days during the year for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. This is from the time when Abraha tried to attack, Kaaba, and then they decided, okay, no, these days, so many days. Yeah, they had a fixed number of days. We worship no other deities except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they used to believe partially. When it comes to prophethood, they used to believe in prophethood partially, not fully. They said that, okay, you can be our religious leader, but not our real leader. So partially they believe. But when it comes to Day of Judgment, they never believe. They say, no, 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 this is not true. This is like children's story. So we don't believe in that. So there are crimes done against the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, crimes against Allah's revelation, that is Quran Majid, the crime of killing the innocent girls, the crime of mutafifin who never, gave full value or cost in the business. They're not weighing properly, yeah, while expecting full value for their self. This is only one or two examples. There are hundreds of crimes these people were doing. The crimes done by oppressors throughout history have affected all of the society. In most cases, the Muslims have spoken against this oppression, whereas the other people in society have been subdued to accept the oppression. This is the difference. Please remember this. So this has happened 1400 years ago. This will happen today, and it will happen until the last day. So what is our duty? When we see the oppression in the society, when we see the crimes in the society, which is impacting not just individuals, collectively on the whole society, we have to speak up. We have to speak up. Why? Because we are the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are the people of Rasulullah, ambassadors of Islam. We are the followers of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Therefore, we should be the first people to raise your voice against all the crimes. We should be the first. But unfortunately, today, you see, what is happening to us, that, we don't even speak. Taking action is secondary. The primary, you should think. Number one, you should think that this is a crime. And this is a crime in the society. This is a crime in my house. How can I stop it? Okay, so you cannot stop the crime in the whole society. Can I stop in my house? If I am involved in that kind of crime, can I stop myself first? Can I stop my wife? Can I stop my children for not doing this crime? And then slowly, slowly, what happens? If I stop, if everybody stops, then the society will slightly change. I said slightly, it will change. Or if you got power, then yes, in masses, you can change the society. If you can, if you are in power, you can change the society. If you are not doing, you are guilty of it. You are guilty of it. This is also today, whatever type of crime you see, this is so important that we should do it. So what I will do, I'll stop it here. Our time is up. So I'll continue after the next slide, inshallah. Wa akhiru dawana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Okay, brothers and sisters, Jazakallah khair for listening to me. If I have